Right. Hey guys, this is the M.O.V.E podcast. Mysterious, omniscient, versatile, and essential, if not sound, or moves if that comes on later on for certain episode specials. This is the M.O.V.E podcast, episode 4, number 4, C. Okay, guys, we're going past A and B. We could do a D later, 4D, but that'd be funny. But episode number 4, C, is this one, and we're going to talk about claymation at least one more time. Maybe it could be revamp the whole purpose of the podcast. That'd be funny if that happens too. But we're gonna talk about claymation capacity limits and preservation of the films and however that goes. So capacity first. When you animated okay, let's just be honest with this. Stop motion pictures and films. When you animate the pictures as the frames, there were times where it could be tricky in the post edit where you could actually think of it, or even just editing in general, where some software won't even register the idea you're doing claymation because it's not familiar with certain programs. Like they don't expect you to use stop motion in, like, say, Windows Movie Maker. It's possible to do it in there, but it's just not as feasible. Obviously, we have software now like Dragon Frame and Stop Motion Pro Eclipse, where it's expected to do that, especially for claymation stop motion, and that solves that problem. However, there were times, especially long ago, maybe even today, where you had restraints because you didn't have enough claymation to work with for the footage of the frames. It's like let me put it this way: if you didn't use sound for claymation, especially long ago, you had a huge advantage on storage space. You could actually upload claymations that had very, very small file sizes. Even with sound, it's kind of like that too. But especially without sound effects or music or anything like that, you can make your file sizes really small. That was one of the advantages I mentioned before on Crosswind on this channel, was that you can make your file sizes really small. But capacity, as far as capacity goes, even with sound, you're able to upload pretty much films that don't have to get into gigabytes. You'd have to upload something like really, really, really feature worthy. I'm not even kidding. Feature film length worthy to be basically even the first gigabyte, and that's assuming that it's long enough and quality enough or whatever the hell that's implied technically, not even just for subjectively, but that could be a big thing objectively too. So who knows? But yeah, that's for capacity. Next up, we got preservation, and there was a video about video game preservation. I could link later if I need to, but that's a little different than this. But it's in the same vein as that, if you know what I'm talking about, the video about that in particular. But the idea of claymation and stop motion animation film preservation. I don't mind using YouTube to keep that safe. It's not that I don't trust it in the long haul or the long run. It's just that I can see just putting it there, whether it stays or not, to be its own good preservation. I have a bit of my own history and unfinished business to work with YouTube in the first place, so that already works for me. But if for the most part. But when I think about how I want to keep my claymations for the audience, it's like, yeah, it feels more professional to keep it here. Even though I can't customize everything, that's a little bit of a different video. But not even for claymation's sake, unfortunately. But I can keep my videos on also maybe hard drives and external drives that make me feel more cool for some reason, charismatic for that. But it's also like keeping it on my computer. I tried to, but it wasn't as easy. Obviously, even with solid state and hard disk drive state stuff. So hard disk drives and solid state drives, like however they last on even desktop towers or whatever. But mine's a gaming rig, but you know, it tended to gaming, not as effective. But still, really good one. Thank you, brother. If you know, you know. Even though I want a power station for some reason, but that's another story. Preservation of claymation does not become a hassle, really. I just wanted to point that out there because I wanted to say one more detail, which is that when you do what I do and you don't make as many playlists for claymation because you do variety content for a long ass time, yeah, that could be its own problem. But I will probably bring back the playlist for claymation. I'll probably be able to bring back a few more playlists, especially if I niche down one more time on claymation, if even for the long haul on this channel. And I bring back playlists about claymation and then make it easier to organize my channel, because this channel already feels a little bit more like a homely channel, the channel that Diggs was supposed to be like. The words like 50-50 on commuting and content creation, but just I did that a little bit here. So I was supposed to bring some other good aspects of that quite content, but that could be different. But preserving claymation, I could organize it better on my channel. I could also make it easier to tell what I'm making via Patreon. I'll update that eventually. The My Writer site, which I'll hopefully keep for a little longer at least, and other things I'm doing, and then revise some of those things. And that's relevant to claymation, trust me, because if you start seeing me use more of this stuff later down the line, even power apps, as far as variety content comes with that, if as power apps will probably come onto the the alt channels, because it has almost nothing to do with claymation. But it's like, but I bring this up because I want you to get an idea of how I work my lifestyle out. Among the many things I could say about this, the other things I've been up to lately, especially good habits, even things that are good habits that are still private, that have nothing to do with claymation, but they still add up to how I do claymation. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I mean? So it's like, so that includes the vlogs for claymation, and the vlogs for anything else that could tailor back into making better films. That's all much to say about that. But so yeah, that was capacity limits, preservation of claymation, and episode 4C of the M.O.V.E podcast for claymation. Thank you very much, and I will see you maybe one more episode of this for claymation, and then maybe we'll revise the M.O.V.E to be about claymation in general. Oh, and one more thing. We'll try to do a little bit of claymation for episode 4D. If not, we'll just do something that looks like claymation for a thumbnail, and that's about it. That'll be okay for them. That'll be a little different, at least this open video, so yeah.